and that's going to take a little bit of time. That's typical in laboratory procedures. So we're going to set this to warm on the bath, and we're going to move on to our next analysis. We want to keep an eye on that because we want to make sure it boils, but we don't have anything violent going on, water coming out, or you can potentially get it boiling inside the test tube and your sample will shoot out the top, and that's not a good idea. So we're going to go on, leave that one to heat, and we'll go on and do our nitrate analysis. We'll put a few drops into our test tube. And we're going to add 10 drops of some concentrated sulfuric acid. Sulfuric acid is something you need to be very, very careful with. It's always kept in glass, and typically exactly this kind of bottle. And we'll use a disposable pipette to take our drops out of the main source. Now I'm careful while I do this not to put the lid down, because that has hydrosulfuric acid in it, and if I put it down on the tabletop, I've now contaminated my workspace. And I will also have picked material off the bench, put it on the lid, which will now enter the sulfuric acid. Now when I added that sulfuric acid, there's actually a reaction occurring there, and it's very hot. I can hardly touch it. I need to wait until that cools down. So again, we have to wait to complete that experiment. So we can get our halide experiment ready, or testing ready. We're going to put a bit of each of our chlorine, bromine, and iodine into the test tubes. To that we need to add about an equal amount of chloroform to each of those 3 test tubes. And to that, we'll add a small crystal of another solid, potassium periodate. Again, we're going to use concentrated sulfuric acid. I'm going to put 1 drop into each of our 3 test tubes. Let's do a check on our acetate analysis. You can see our iron chloride has gone into solution, certainly a lot more than it did earlier. Not quite boiling yet though, so I'm going to leave it a little longer. And now you can see the chloride is colorless. The bromide is a yellow color. And the iodide is a deep reddish yellow, reddish orange. Now, the chloride test being colorless is meaningless for just this test. You must have a positive test with the silver nitrate for this test to be positive for chloride. But these 2 tests will stand on their own as positive for bromine and iodine. And you can see that there's very definitely a precipitate there. You have material suspended and kind of clumped together. So the last test we have to complete is the nitrate analysis. It was too hot to proceed when I first put the sulfuric acid in it, but now it's quite cool. We need to keep this at an angle, so I'm going to put it in this beaker. And we're going to slide gently a few drops of 0.2 molar ferrous sulfate into that test tube. What I want to do is keep this layer on top and not disturb the bottom layer. We have to give that a little bit of time. So it's been about 4 minutes now, and if you look very carefully, you'll see that there's still 2 layers in the liquid, and between the 2 layers is a brown, scummy sort of material. It's actually precipitate, and that ring at the junction of the 2 liquids is a positive test for nitrate ion.